In the process of ascending or raising our frequency and becoming everything we can be, sometimes there is this little fear that can come with it of what if by doing this, bettering myself and growing so much, I lose touch with my life, with everything that's in my life, and I lose people that I love, or even worse, I lose myself. If you are feeling like this, or if you ever did, keep watching, because in this video, I am going to talk about this process of ascension and how this can not only come with a lot of amazing and beautiful things, but also with some fears that are totally new and are very unknown ground to us, coming from this three-dimensional consciousness that we have grown up into a higher consciousness of life. This fear can reveal itself in many, many ways. And sometimes it even holds us back, because imagine you are starting to raise your frequency and you start expanding your consciousness, right? So you start seeing things about this world, things that are quite real, but that were unknown to you before. And by starting to look into those things, you get excited and you want to, all that excitement and all that marvelousness that you are discovering, you want to share that with the world, right? And by doing that, you sometimes get faced with some resistance, because not everybody is ready for what you are ready, because not everybody is at the same level or at the same frequency. And yes, that can be scary, because sometimes in this period we feel a little bit alone, or more lonely. Not alone, because if you're here, you know that you are never alone. You have your guides, you have your higher self, and all of this amazing galactic family that you may have been discovering. But I digress. What I mean by this is that we can feel lonely because these new ideas and all of these new concepts that we have been diving in and discovering about the world, they are not easy to share with everybody. And sometimes they scare us a bit because even us, we are starting to grasp it, we feel it, and we are getting in touch with this part of us that is deeply knowledgeable, that knows pretty much everything, but at the same time, there is this ego, this part of us that is what we know, that's what we've been building until today, that is at the same time fighting that new knowledge and being like, oh, am I safe by sharing this with people? And yes, that is a little bit complicated. I must say that I myself experienced this, and it's not like, oh, I've experienced it and now I'm so ascended that I never experienced that before. Of course, we will keep experiencing this, because as we know, development and learning, healing, all of those processes, they happen in stages. We learn first one thing to create a base, and then we learn what comes next and what comes next, and that's how you expand. You can't start on the top of the tower, you have to climb the stairs to get there, right? So knowing this, the process of climbing the stairs, it's sometimes very challenging, because imagine you're climbing the stairs and then you look out the window, and excuse the metaphor, but this is what's coming to mind, but you look out of the window and you see that you were a bit higher, and then if you look down, just right down, you're going to be scared of how high you came. But if instead of looking down, you look forward, you are going to be faced with the skyline and maybe the horizon and all the beauty that now you can see from there. And there's another thing that is important in this moment, is to not lose sight of the fact that just because you are ascending let's call it this way. It might sound a little bit snobby, but what I mean by ascending, I mean that you're expanding your consciousness. And I think you understand what I mean. You are becoming better each day, bettering the way you treat others, the way you treat the world, the way you see things is changing. And you want to base your life less in what you can achieve in terms of materialistic things and more in what you can achieve with love. And by doing that, you start feeling the resistance of those who are still not there. And that's not bad. That's a sign that whatever you're doing, it's going well, right? But I know how troubling the process can be, and the fear that can come up of, am I leaving all of these other people behind? Because there's other people in our lives that are not choosing the same path as us. They don't have to, because their path is unique to themselves. And the way each person expands their consciousness doesn't have to be the same. But in your case, you're experiencing things and that they are not experiencing. And you're afraid that, am I going to have to let them go? Are we even going to be able to communicate anymore? And yes, let me tell you this. Let me put you at ease right away. Yes, you are. Because if you look at this way, the more that we grow, the more that we expand, the more open both our mind and our heart spaces become. So it gives you an advantage because it gives you insight over yourself and over things that maybe those people are going through that you already went through. And it gives you the possibility to embrace things, give people the space and respect they deserve. Because a person that has an open heart space also has the ability to respect people around them, whatever they are in their journey and in their life. And isn't that beautiful? So you are not going to lose those people that are important to you in your life. And just because you grew, it didn't mean that you fundamentally changed. Your core values, your essence, the person you always were, that is still in you. It's just now expanding and becoming even better. You are trying to better yourself, and that is beautiful. And like I said before, the more we expand, the more we grow, the more our heart spaces are going to be able to embrace others. For example, when I started my spiritual journey, let's call it this way, when I started expanding my consciousness, and a lot of me started to make decisions that were different from the decisions I was making until that day. And two people that are the most important people in my life are my parents, and they had a really hard time in the beginning because obviously the people that know us, they are expecting certain reactions, certain responses from us. And then when we start to shift the way we react, and because you see situations different ways, you start to act differently, and people around you are going to start to be confused. So my parents had that moment where they didn't really know what to expect of me, and the decisions I was making that were the best decisions I could make for my life. And I know it because I felt peace with my decisions. I felt that whatever I did was what I needed to do in order to live a happy life. But obviously, those decisions were not expected, and they had a really hard time seeing past that until, and because I was in a space where I was striving to be better, I thought to myself, yes, but people need time, and I have to respect them. They know me the way I was, and just because I am trying to better myself and to create a better future, a better life for myself, it doesn't mean that they have to accept it as I go. So I decided to give them space and give them the time they needed to understand that the person I was didn't fundamentally change. I was the same Ligia, the same daughter that they knew and loved. My values didn't change just because I made different decisions. I was the same, but they had to learn my new boundaries, my new voice, and they had to start listening to me in that new voice, in those new attitudes, and see, oh, it's still the same person. She just tweaked and tinkered a little bit, but she is still our daughter, and we are going to give her the respect of accepting her just as she is. And I think that in this case is a give and take, because the way that I was respecting them, giving them the time, it kind of mirrored back to me, because by giving them that space, they understood that they could also give it back to me. And I think that that's one of the, I was going to call it a step, but I want to call it one of the proofs that whatever you are doing and that you are becoming a better person, let's put it this way, because whatever of good that you are trying to put out projects back to you. And I treated the situation with love, and love was projected back to me. That because I've worked from my heart. And although my ego was talking on my ear, on my mind, saying to me like, oh, they don't accept you the way you are, and just because you decided to use your voice. Yes, my ego was telling me a lot of things, but my heart was telling me, give them time and treat them the way you want them to treat you in the future. And so I did. And then, my friend, is a sign of a consciousness that is opening up, what we say, that is raising the frequency, because the 3D frequency that we live in, it's very dense, so it's based on duality, good and bad. If it's not one, it's the other. But then you have the next. The more that you raise your frequency, and if you're here, you understand what I'm talking about, the more you work from a place of heart, emotion, feeling, and when you give your heart a voice, you are able to work with things in a very different perspective. And you're not only coming from a part of ego, and ego is always going to be there. It doesn't mean it's a vital part of us. It is balance. But just because your ego is screaming left and right doesn't mean that your heart has to be silent. We have space for that. And that is where it comes back to what I was starting this video with. That is, just because we raise our frequencies, walk a path to ascending and becoming the best we can become, more spiritual, a light worker path, a healing path, whatever is the path that you chose for yourself right now, doesn't mean that you're going to lose these people in your life, or that you're going to lose the ability to communicate with them. As long as you let your heart, your spirit, your essence talk. And being in a higher frequency means that you can perceive where the people you don't want to lose in your life are. And you can create a safe space for you to coexist with them. And the example that comes to mind is this one. Imagine when you talk to a child. You go down on your knees and you high level with them, right? You don't have to go baby talk. You talk to them normally, but you go into their height because you want to communicate from me to you, soul to soul, heart to heart. And the child will feel listened and will feel like you are respecting them, because you are not talking to them from up here. You didn't become the guru on top of the mountain, right? You are just yourself, living the better life that you can live and becoming the most beautiful version of yourself that you can be. And in the path to that, if you are a healer, a light worker, I know you want to help other people. And I believe deeply that you don't have to lose anyone in order to do that. And yes, there will be people in our life that will walk away and that we will lose. But I use the term lose a little bit loosely because you will not lose anyone. The people in who you reflect your love and comprehension and understanding will mirror that back to you. And those who don't, they are the people who are also not uh, the people you want in your life. The most beautiful thing that happens in this period is that when people walk out of our lives that can't respect the essence of who you are, that can't understand where you are, and also can't give you the space to be there, they will leave and give space to others. And they will be what we call your soul tribe. Not everybody has to think the same, think alike, but it will be people who will accept you the way you are. Some of them will stay in your life because people will open your heart to you. It's going to be people that can connect heart to you. And when you open yourself up, it doesn't matter who you are, the way you speak, and where you're coming from in your life, they will love you the way you are. And those are the people you want in your life. And if you don't want to lose people you love, because you know they love you too, you won't. I can guarantee you this. Because we won't lose anyone that loves us. Because if they love us for who we are. And they will learn to love us the same way that we love them. And they will respect us back. So don't be afraid to grow and become the better version of yourself. And when you find yourself in a moment where you feel like you reached a new level, don't look down, look forward, and you will see that love will always conquer all, and the way that you treat other people will mirror back at you. And if you ever feel like you need help with this, my contacts are on the description of the video. I would love to be there for you and to give you some kind of help. I am also coaching people into learning how to use their intuition, coming out of burnouts and situations where they don't feel they can be the person that they are. And I would love to help you if you feel so inclined. So my friend, as always, welcome home. Mwah! See you in our next video.